Really excellent way of detoxing the blood and of reversing many conditions. You have a choice. Here's your choice. According to Edward Howells, we would be okay. We would live for, like the Hunzas live, for 120 years old. If what? If we eat an 80% raw foods, natural foods diet. You know about the Hunzas, right, in Pakistan. They lived until like 120 years old. And what did they eat? I mean, men of like 100 years old, I mean, they were going out and working the fields. They had no cancer, no arthritis, no chronic degenerative diseases. And why? Because they grew all their own foods. They had like this glacier that fed natural minerals into their soil. Yeah, that helped, but also they had no huge fast food chains there. So what did they eat? They ate natural whole foods, fruits and vegetables. They ate a little bit of raw milk, raw butter, raw cheese. They had a few cattle. They didn't eat much meat, a little bit of meat. And they just had an optimum lifestyle. So in order for that to happen for us, you have a choice. The choice is either you try to eat like a Hunza, or else you have another choice. You can add back into the foods the enzymes that have been removed by food processing. And how you do that is with a program of enzyme supplementation. So what I've discovered is that when you take enzyme supplementation, it lasts for about 5 hours. So if you take them morning, noon, and night at meal times, then you have enzyme activity in your bloodstream for most of the day. And eventually, it will detox the blood. Now, there's two aspects of this type of enzyme therapy. And the first aspect is for the chronic or acute case of, indigestion where you have gut pain all the time, you're always kind of sick, you don't eliminate very well. An enzyme program is going to go in there and it's going to break down those foods that have been sitting in there for weeks and months in their indigestible form. So you'll be able to pass that through. That's the first phase. The other aspect of an enzyme therapy program is that the enzymes will be absorbed into the bloodstream, and the enzymes will be able to go into the blood, and all those locations where all those locations of undigested foods took up residence in all these locations, in your muscles, in your kidney, in your liver, everywhere. It will finally break those down, and if you drink enough water, it will flush that through the body. And this is not just a theory. I've been doing this for 7, 8 years now, and many people have really reversed some incredible, hopeless conditions by doing an enzyme program. And there's research being conducted in Europe, in the United States, in Mexico, and hundreds of holistic practitioners are using enzyme therapy in order to reverse a lot of mysterious conditions. That's another really good one. If you know somebody who has something that all the doctors have, taken a shot at, and he's on the merry-go-round. This guy refers him to this guy refers him to this guy, but yet he's getting sicker and sicker. Nothing helps him. That is a chronic allergic response. That is toxemia of the blood due to chronic undigested foods. We are the only animals in nature who subsist on processed food, an enzymeless diet. The way Stan Bynum looked at it, a famous researcher in the field of enzymes, is that it's not what we eat, but rather what we digest that determines our health. So when you try to make food choices, is this good for me at this time? The first thing you should ask yourself is it a natural food? Can I break it down? And I've tested many types of enzymes, and I know that there are many good enzymes on the market. And the one that I mostly use today is out of Phoenix, Arizona, made by a company called Infinity. And I use their enzyme called Digestamil because it's a broad-spectrum enzyme which can break down fats, protein, and carbohydrate. And I recommend that this is very safe because it's just food. It's just food. Let's say you're driving down the street in your car and the oil light comes on. So it's like, oh, I can't be bothered. So you take a piece of duct tape and you put it over the oil light and you keep on driving. That's the same thing. What, you guys do that? That's the same thing that we do when we go, I got gut pain, I must get find the right drug for my pain. So what do? We buy Tagamet over the counter, or if it continues, we go and we get Prilosec, right? Or one of these derivatives. Now, what do these things do? I looked it up in the PDR, Physician's Desk Reference, and what does it say? They inhibit gastric secretion. I go, wow, what a great idea. It inhibits gastric secretion. Yeah, that's what was causing me pain in the first place. Yeah, that's it. So then the person takes that. They don't have any more digestive juices being produced by the stomach. But what happens? Hey, wait a minute. The food, I thought it was the food. Yeah, the food is still there. The food is still there. It's still sitting in there. It's in the stomach. It's in the intestine. So now you have made an acute condition chronic by avoiding it, by taping the oil light, by covering up the symptoms instead of going to the cause.
What a wealth of information to receive directly from the expert. We want to expressly thank Dr. O'Shea for sharing his knowledge and experience with us the past 2 weeks. And don't forget, you may want to order a copy of Tanita DeRay's booklet, Food Enzymes, by calling the PRISM Weight Loss Program corporate office at 800-755-1738. We don't want to leave the topic of enzymes without once again encouraging you to order your own supply. Enzymes will make a tremendous difference on your weight loss journey. To order Digestamil, call toll-free 1-800-572-1447 or visit their website at www.infinity2.com. To order the Maximizer formula, please contact Our Garden at 1-800-800-1927. Now it's time to shift our focus and prepare to take a good, hard look at our attitudes and habits. The subjects you will study daily during week 4 are as follows. You will learn to identify your internal critic. You'll examine the foundations of your present identity. You will begin to understand that negative self-esteem may manifest itself in addictive, compulsive behaviors. You will recognize and identify your level of addiction. You'll also discover if you are involved in codependency. You will realize God's perfect love and His unconditional acceptance of you. And finally, you will learn how to write a personal affirmation.
Some of the first things I learned is that I needed to take care of me, and that I needed to do what was right and healthy for me in order to be successful. And I needed to make healthier choices, and upon making positive thinking and healthier choices, that I could succeed at this program.
That's exactly how it was for me. I watched you go through your transformation and just stood back and watched, see what this program was about. Didn't really know a whole lot about it, except I wanted to see you and how you applied this to your life. And when I saw you truly transform, then I decided it was time for me to do this as well.
I was on the program just under a year when I reached my right weight, which was about 86 pounds loss. And it was about that time that you approached me about starting a program in your church.
It's a program that we needed in our church, and when I came to you on that, it was one that I needed to participate in, but I also saw the need in our church. And it was also something I didn't want to go into alone too. And coming to you and getting that support was so important to me, and I knew that it would be a stretch out of both of our comfort zones. But I knew that God not only wanted me to ask you to start this program with me helping you out, but I knew there was a bigger picture. I felt that God was calling me to have this as a ministry, to touch the lives. People out there are hurting, whether it's weight loss or the food addiction. I had, in the first time, felt that I really was called to a ministry that could really make a difference. It does not matter. I found in coming to the group, there are so many different people coming from so many different areas, and we are all focusing on that same light at the end of the tunnel. It may be 15 pounds, it may be 100 pounds, it may be 250 pounds. But whatever that pounds that we have on us that does not make us feel comfortable, it brings your self-esteem and it just loads you down. And with the 25 pounds that I wanted to lose, it was just a burden lift off to me, not just the weight, but it came to the point where I was feeling like I could not participate in my family activities. I did not want to go on that water skiing trip because I didn't want to be in that swimsuit or that pair of shorts. And it just made me feel not whole. I wasn't being able to be the real person I was, the fun person that wanted to get out there. My self-esteem was low, that I felt that people were just looking at me and saying, no, just that. And it was me. It was the self-esteem that had just been buried.
Let's talk about how the group kind of supports that, the weekly meetings. And
it is. It's that time where you come and you make that recommitment each week, that, oh, I'm empowered, I'm going to go out there. And you've even mentioned to me that you've done the, after the meetings, done the Wednesday night after meeting shopping, because you're going to go on another week and you're going to make those right choices. The education is another aspect of the group meetings. The videos that we watch are incredible. I don't know how many times I've watched those videos now, and each time I watch them, it is a new message coming to me. And it's because I believe I'm in a different area each time I watch those.
we also talked about it needs to be a safe place, and I think we've created that with our group. It's a safe place to talk about issues that maybe are close to your heart.
You don't want it to be the dreaded place to come. You want it to be your comfort zone.
Melody, we've talked a lot about the bond that our group has formed with each other. We've even called our PRISM group our family, or our little support tight-knit group.
We have formed quite a group. It is a family. We're all in the same boat, and the bond that we have formed as leaders has been wonderful. As sisters, as co-leaders, as friends. It has been wonderful doing this program with you, and I would encourage anyone out there, if they were interested and God was calling them to this, it is a neat ministry. It is a worthwhile program, definitely. It has changed so many lives. It's changed my life, and I know that God wants me to be involved in this, and it has been the most rewarding thing that I've ever done.
The transformation for me is still ongoing, even though I've had miraculous weight loss and transformation inside, and it's still a process, and I am looking forward to continuing this process and encourage anybody else who would like this transformation to give it a try.
I think hearing stories from other participants is so helpful. I distinctly remember my own experience during week 4, and I want to encourage you that week 4 is a very positive time for you, even if you don't feel like it is. Around this time in my own weight loss journey, one evening I began to cry for no apparent reason. I didn't realize at the time I had begun the grieving process over the loss of unhealthy food. But somehow I did know that part of me had begun to die to self, and that was a very good thing. Which is why I say week 4 is very positive, even though it may not feel pleasant for a short while. The grieving process will pass. Hang in there and work through it. I am excited to tell you that your reading for this week will direct you to start working on your self-esteem. You will learn, if you haven't already, that you have worth because of whose you are, not who you are. You belong to God, and you are tremendously valuable to Him and to your fellow man. You will begin to understand that you really do count. And as you learn that God has given you life for a specific purpose, you will see that you play an integral part in the working of God's overall plan. Isn't that exciting? Be encouraged and hold on to the program guidelines and to your commitment to the Agreement of Resolution. Listen to your audio tape each day. When you use these tools together, they will really help you continue on your journey without a slip or fall, even through the grieving process, should you begin to experience it this week. I leave you with this heartfelt prayer written by Paul to the Ephesians. I pray that Christ will be more and more at home in your hearts, living within you as you trust in Him. May your roots go down deep into the soil of God's marvelous love, and may you be able to feel and understand, as all God's children should, how long, how wide, how deep, and how high His love really is. And to experience this love for yourselves, though it is so great that you will never see the end of it or fully know or understand it. And so at last, you will be filled up with God Himself. Now glory be to God, who by His mighty power at work within us is able to do far more than we would ever dare to ask or even dream of. Infinitely beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, or hopes. May He be given glory forever and ever through endless ages because of His master plan of salvation for the church through Jesus Christ. Amen. Have a great week.